The woman was sitting on the sofa in the living room of her beautiful mansion, leaning forward and covering her face with her hands. The man knelt in front of her, declaring his love. Another man listened nearby, unnoticed by either of them. "Ellie, I love you." "I love you too." "Then don't do this to us." "We're gone, Billy." "Once upon a time there were, Ellie, and they will again, and they will again." "Please don't do this." "I have to, but everything will work out, and you'll thank me in the end." "Billy, you will ruin my life. This will devastate Stan, and it's not fair to him. How can you do this after all he's done for you?" "I swear I will do everything in my power to protect Stan, but I need you back in my life." "I'm already in your life, but that's all I can do." "No, Ellie, there will be more, and it will be good." "I can't. I don't want to." "No way." Ellie tried to gently refuse Billy. He was one of her husband's oldest and closest friends, but his obsessive behavior now threatened her relationship with her husband. This was unacceptable. "We loved each other once, Ellie, and we will love each other again." "It was at school, Billy. I don't love you like that anymore. If you loved me as much as you say you loved me, you would let me go." "That's the only thing I can't do." "Sorry, Billy, but that's not going to happen." "Ellie, remember the New Year's party?" "I remember something." "What do you mean?" "Remember the bathroom?" "I remember being in the bathroom. I remember how you came in." "I went into the bathroom with you, Ellie. We did something." "What the hell did you do, Billy?" "I made you, Ellie." "Well, I didn't quite do it, but I got you. I took the photos, Ellie. People will think we did something if they see these photos." "Crap, it's not funny. Billy, please. I beg you, do not do that. This will devastate Stan. He won't understand. This will cause him a nervous breakdown. He'll never know, I swear. I'll take this with me to my grave. I will never do anything to harm you both. You must trust me. As long as we're careful, he'll never know. Billy, please. I have to do it. We have to do it." Ellie was already crying. "Billy, after all he's done for you, how can you do this?" "Please do not cry. Everything will be fine. Do you think this should work?" "Listen, Stan is leaving on a business trip on February 2nd and will be gone until the 12th. I am also planning a business trip and will leave on the 4th. I'll go and spend a few days taking selfies and sending them to Alice, then come back here on the 6th. We'll spend Saturday together, rekindling our love for each other, then I'll fly out on the 8th and spend a few more days sending back more selfies. Nobody will know I'm here." Ellie thought quickly. She met Billy when they were both in 8th grade. Ellie was a thin, clumsy girl, one of the smartest in school. Billy was the bad guy. Surprisingly, they became friends and started dating when they entered high school. Ellie lost her virginity to Billy and believed then that they would be together forever. Forever lasted 6 months when Billy began to have a wandering look. Billy actually dumped her gently, and they continued to be friends. It was no secret that Billy had emotional problems. He got into fights and was very clingy and possessive, but he was loyal to his friends to the last. The problem was that he didn't really have any friends, just Ellie and the girls looking for the bad guy. During high school, Billy dated numerous girls and got into trouble several times for stalking them after a breakup. There were rumors of pregnancies, but no little Billy ever showed up. At the same time that Billy and Ellie broke up, Billy met Stan and Lenny. Like Billy, they had their quirks. Lenny was considered slow. He was friendly, but kept to himself. He was smart enough to graduate from high school, but was clearly on the lower end of the ick scale. He was also loyal to his friends. Lenny was a big kid. In 9th grade, he was over 6 feet tall and weighed 220 pounds. By the time he graduated from high school, he was 6 feet 6 inches tall and weighed about 280 pounds of muscle. To Ellie, he was a big teddy bear. He was one of the sweetest, kindest, and gentle people she had ever known. Lenny rarely got angry. Ellie had known him for a year before she saw him like this for the first time. That first time he was almost expelled. Ellie was in the main hallway of the school when one of the big quarterbacks on the soccer team started harassing her. Lenny was just passing by when the football player started groping Ellie and she screamed. Lenny pulled him away from her and the football player hit him. Lenny almost beat him unconscious. It took 3 of his teammates to pull Lenny away from him. It was all on camera and Lenny was acquitted because it was clear he was protecting Ellie and the footballer hit him first. At the same time she met Lenny, she met Stan. Stan was on the extreme end of the autism spectrum and was very socially awkward. He was, without a doubt, the smartest kid in school, possibly in the state. He had an ick that was off the charts. It was strange that he and Lenny became friends, but they did. Stan was a very attractive guy who didn't know it. He was athletic, but he took up cross-country running because he could do it alone, and he liked being alone. He looked like a less extreme version of Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory in Ashton Kutcher's body. He and Ellie started dating on Valentine's Day in their sophomore year and have been together ever since. The fact that Ellie and Billy were dating was never an issue. Until now. Ellie became very protective of her boyfriend. Despite his genius in most areas, his social awkwardness made him a possible target. She was fiercely protective and did everything to prevent him from becoming a victim. Before they started dating, but after they met, another kid pretended to be his friend and then made fun of him in front of a bunch of other kids. It took Stan 3 days to come to terms with the idea that someone who called himself a friend could do such a thing. Billy beat this kid. After high school, Stan went to MIT on a full scholarship. Lenny got a job in the Philadelphia shipyard, lifting heavy stuff from one pallet and putting it on another pallet, and Billy, with a Jed, joined the army. It turned out that shortly before graduation, Billy learned that he would not be able to graduate, so he dropped out of school and got his Jed. Ellie attended Temple and received a degree in business management. Now, at 30 years old, they all lived in sunny California. After MIT, Stan founded his own internet company in Silicon Valley, sold it 2 years later for hundreds of millions of dollars, and remembered his friends. Ellie and Stan got married on Valentine's Day after he graduated from MIT. After they became successful, Stan contacted his old friends and invited them to move to California. Lenny was still working at the shipyard, and Billy was moving from one job to another and had recently married a girl named Alice. Stan moved his friends into houses near him, and they became the close group they had been before. He founded another company and gave his friends high-paying positions. Everything he touched turned to gold. Ellie and Stan were planning to start a family now that everything was settled. Now Billy's obsessive personality was showing its ugly face. Ellie had noticed that Billy had been flirting a little more than usual the past few months, but didn't think much of it since he had always been a flirt. Now she wished it didn't happen. She didn't know what she could do about it, but she still felt like she had to be on her guard. "Billy, I need to think about this. You have to make me a promise. You can't let Stan find out about any of this. If he finds out about anything, it will devastate him. This could literally cause him to have a nervous breakdown. I'll do anything to protect him. Billy, anything." "I don't want to hurt him, Ellie. I will do anything to protect him, but I need you back in my life on a higher level." "Where does Alice think you're going on a business trip?" "To Philadelphia. I've already booked a hotel room near the airport in case she checks on me." "What about Stan? Does he know you should be there?" "Well, there's a conference going on, and he thinks I'll be there." "Why don't you just tell Alice about the conference?" "Because if she doesn't have anything planned, she'll want to come with me and spend a week in Philly. She knows I might miss certain aspects of the conference, but if she thinks I'll be busy in meetings, she won't want to go." "A tangled web, Billy. Why don't you just divorce her? End the farce." "Because she's the cover we'll need, Ellie. My marriage will be more of a cover for us." "We can't exist, Billy." "It will be, Ellie, you will see. Everything will be fine." "No, it won't, Billy. Someone will get hurt very badly, maybe everyone." "I love you, Ellie. I would never hurt you." "You're delusional, Billy. You're already hurting me." "I love you, Ellie." "I love you too, Billy. That's why it hurts so much." Lenny left the house. He wasn't sure what to do about it. If he just beat Billy up like he wanted to at that moment, Stan would know and understand what happened. He decided to wait and call Ellie later. She was very smart. She knew what to do. 2 hours later, after Billy left, Ellie was trying to figure out how to resolve this situation without anyone getting hurt. There's no way she's going to cheat on Stan. No way. She had to find a way to get the photos Billy had before Stan saw them. Although she was sure Stan would believe her if she said she was high, she still worried about what would happen to his psyche. The next problem was how to get rid of Billy without it all coming out. She didn't lie to Billy, she loved him, like a brother. There was not a single romantic feeling for him in her body. She no longer trusted him and knew he had to be removed from their lives somehow. He was like Old Yeller. She loved him but knew he was too risky to stick around. In the end, he would ruin the wonderful man that was her husband. Her cell phone rang and a selfie of her and Lenny she took when they went to a Philadelphia Union football game together appeared on the screen. "Hey Lenny, what's wrong?" "Hey Ellie, do you have a minute?" "For you, Lenny, I have a lot of minutes." "Is Stan around? Can he hear you?" "No, just me." Ellie, I don't know how to say this. I heard what happened at your house with Billy today and—" "Lenny, listen to me. I'm not sure what you heard, but—" "Lenny, can we meet somewhere? Since you already know something, I really need someone to talk to, and I'd rather not talk about it on the phone." "That works for me. How about Starbucks?" "Great, 20 minutes. Sounds good. See you there." "Thank you, Lenny." Billy felt like a complete asshole, but he just couldn't help himself. He needed to get her. His own marriage was falling apart, and in his mind, Ellie was what he needed. He knew he couldn't have her completely. She would never leave Stan, but just having a piece of her would bring the stability back into his life that he needed. At least that's what he rationalized. Billy didn't actually have any photos of Ellie. He was surprised she didn't demand to see them. He went into the bathroom when Ellie was there, but only because he heard her when she started throwing up. He stopped by to make sure she was okay and later decided to use it to his advantage. He didn't even drug her. In her mind, she hadn't had enough to drink, and he let her believe what she wanted. In fact, she had been drinking all day. The fact is that she was not a drinker and was, as it were, a lightweight. Now that the die had been cast, he was going to go to the end. He planned to fly to Philly on the 4th and create an alibi for himself. He'll call Alice from Philly, send some local selfies, and head back to California on the 6th. He'll spend the weekend with Ellie, then fly back to Philly on the 9th and take some more selfies. He will return to California on the 12th as planned. He hated doing this to Stan, but his mind kept telling him that this was the only way to get his life back on track. Ellie was the answer. She was a calming force in his life. He should never have broken up with her when they were young. If they had just stayed together, maybe his life wouldn't have been so messed up. The more he thought about it, the more he was sure that his life would be better if he stayed with Ellie. He wasn't lying when he said he would die for either of them, but he felt like he was suffocating without her. On the other hand, if Ellie and Stan split up, Ellie would still be super rich, and the two of them could live comfortably and happily for the rest of their lives. However, it wouldn't be worth it if she was unhappy. He'll have to share it, at least for now. Ellie parked her car in the shopping center parking lot and walked into the Starbucks coffee shop. She ordered mint tea and added some sugar and chocolate powder. She took regular black coffee without sugar, just like Lenny liked. She found a table in the corner of the store where there was some privacy and looked around to see if there was anyone she knew. No one. 5 minutes later, Lenny came in and saw her. He came over and sat down opposite me with a concerned look. "Lenny, thanks for meeting me here. Tell me what you heard." "Well, Ellie, I stopped by Stan's to drop off some paperwork and saw Billy's car in front of the house. I didn't pay attention to it until I entered the house and didn't hear you two talking. I realized that you didn't hear me, so I didn't say anything. I was in the kitchen while you two were in the living room. I saw Billy get down on his knees and start begging you. I was very angry that he put pressure on you, but I decided that it was better to wait and talk to you later. I thought you knew what to do. I will help you as soon as I can. I know, Lenny. For now, just keep this between us. I am not going to do anything with Billy. I've always heard that once you give in, things only get worse. Eventually, it will come out and devastate Stan. I can't risk this, Lenny, I can't. I have to find a way to get the photos he says he has, and then get Billy out of our lives. I'll do it, Ellie. I'll get rid of it for you. Not like that, Lenny. Another way. I don't want him to get hurt, and I don't want you to end up in jail. There must be another way. Maybe I could make it seem like he just decided to leave and not come back. As nice as it is, I don't want him to get hurt if it can be prevented. As a last resort, I might consider it, but only as a last resort. Okay, Ellie, whatever you say. Just tell me what to do. Let's think about it and talk later, okay? Thank you, Lenny. I really appreciate your help. You have no idea what this means to me. Anything for you and Stan. Ellie got home at 5 o'clock and threw some steaks on the grill. She thought Stan would be home around 6. At 6 o'clock and 5 minutes, Stan walked through the garage door into the hallway. Ellie, I'm home, he shouted. I'm on the terrace, cooking steaks, she shouted back. Stan went out onto the terrace and gently hugged his wife, leaned over and kissed her on the soft spot behind her right ear. He knew it gave her goosebumps. She was always surprised when he showed signs of attention to her, because he was not so attentive with others. He didn't like shaking hands and hated it when another woman wanted to hug him and kiss him on the cheek. The only other woman who could afford a little hug and kiss on the cheek was Ellie's best friend, Andrea. Hi, beautiful. How was your day? Just a great, sexy man. I went to the gym and ran around the park. Visited the animal shelter for a while. There was a very cute corgi puppy there. Working there with Andrea, she said hi to you. Did I mention the corgi puppy? Well, tell her I'm saying hello too. I like her very much. She reminds me of you, you know. She even looks like you. It's actually creepy how similar you are. Now, honey, corgis are expensive. I'm sure this puppy belongs to someone. Someone will take it. Do not get attached. I know. Maybe one day. How about we wait until the summer so we can train him outside? It was a statement, not a question. Is it true? Are you sure? I know you feel uncomfortable around dogs. Waiting until the summer will give me time to get used to the idea. Okay, Stan, that sounds perfect. I love you, darling. I still don't know what I did to deserve you. Yeah, well, you know I love you too, and you know I feel obligated to say it every time you do. So, I love you too. I know, I just wanted to hear you say it, Ellie laughed. Go wash yourself, I'll prepare dinner. Fine. By the way, I made a reservation for us for our anniversary, so don't make any plans. That's great. Where are we going? She asked, smiling. Stan was not inclined to surprise her. Usually, he discussed everything with her in advance. Since he didn't like surprises, he thought she didn't like it either and thought he was being affectionate. Well, it's a surprise, but I'll tell you if you need to know. No, dear. I love it when you give me surprises. I can't wait. I love you. Stan took a deep breath. I love you too, but if you can't wait, I'll tell you. No, fool. I mean, I'm excited for the surprise, but I'll wait until Valentine's Day and I'll be surprised. I love it when you surprise me. You're weird, he laughed. I'm going to wash myself. I love you, Ellie screamed as he closed the French door to the terrace. Stan stopped outside the door and pressed his forehead to it, then stepped back, opened the door again, and walked out onto the terrace. I love you too. Can I go wash now? Yes, sexy man. She giggled. She won't hurt this man. She will do anything to resolve the situation with Billy without hurting Stan. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became at Billy. She understood that he had a personality disorder, but she couldn't be the one to put up with his problems. A few days later, she received a call from Billy. Hi, Ellie. Are you busy? Hi, Billy. No, I am not busy. What happened? How about lunch? Certainly. What about Antonio? It's quiet there. How about a food court in a mall? Bill took a deep breath. Good, good. I was hoping for something more intimate. I don't do private things, Billy, but I think we need to meet. That's what I was hoping to hear, Ellie. A little after noon, Ellie parked in the mall's parking garage and walked up the stairs to the second floor. She walked to the center of the mall and entered the food court, then found a table in the corner and sat down with her back to the wall. She looked around again to see if she saw anyone familiar. No one. Billy arrived a few minutes later and sat down opposite her. Hi, Ellie. Good to see you. You look beautiful as always. Billy could be a seducer. She knew in hindsight that the best thing that ever happened to her was Billy leaving her. At school, she believed that he was the love of her life, and they would be together forever. She knew now that he was broken inside and would never be truly happy with any woman he was with. Billy, I implore you to reconsider your decision. I don't love you the way I did then. Ellie, take your time. Are you hungry? What should you order for lunch? I'm not hungry, Billy. Okay, I'll get myself a salad. Be right back. Could you get me a Diet Coke, please? Anything for you, beauty. Billy returned a few minutes later with a salad and 2 drinks. Okay, Billy, what do you want to talk about? Like I don't know. Ellie, everything will be fine. I promise. Stan will never know and our love will be rekindled. Okay, here's what will happen on our special weekend. I will fly to Philly on the 4th as planned. I'll stay a few days, take some selfies and call to let everyone know I'm there, then come back here on the 6th. Stan will already be away by then, so there won't be any problems. We'll have our special weekend, then I'll fly back to Philly on the 9th, take a few more selfies and make some calls, and then come back here on the 12th. The only bad thing is that it won't coincide with Valentine's Day weekend. Billy, Valentine's Day is my anniversary. If you believe for even a minute that I will spend it with you instead of Stan, you are sorely mistaken. Besides, do you think you have everything thought of? Do you see any problems with this? No problem, Ellie. Everything will be fine, I promise. Stan will be protected, and we can resume our relationship. I will never do anything to jeopardize your relationship with Stan, I swear. Ellie began to come up with a plan. She needed to contact Lenny, but until then she would have to go along with Billy's plan, or at least let him know that she was considering it. You promise you'll never hurt Stan? I swear he'll never know, Ellie. I couldn't live with it, Billy. If this happens, it will kill him, and it will kill me. Ellie, I know this sounds weird, but I would never hurt him, not only because I care about him, but because I love you so much. I know that hurting him will hurt you too. I need to think about this. We will talk later. With these words, she got up and left. Billy was really pleased with their short conversation. Ellie considered his plan. She was beginning to understand how important she was to him, and that everything would work out as soon as they resumed their relationship. He knew she would agree eventually. It was only a matter of time before he showed her that it was possible. Lenny, are you busy? No, Ellie, what happened? Can we meet again? Same Starbucks, 30 minutes from now. Great, Lenny, thanks. You're welcome, Ellie. Ellie was sitting at a table with mint tea and regular black coffee when Lenny entered. She waved at him and stood up to hug him. Lenny hugged her gently and felt her tremble a little. Everything will be fine, Ellie. We can handle it. After a long hug, Ellie stepped back and sat down. Lenny, he told me about his plans for that week. She recounted what Billy had told her about his plans for the trip. I think I have the beginning of a plan. You will go to Philly and meet him there, somehow preventing him from returning on the 6th. Ellie, I could do it, but he will see me and understand what happened. What if he gets angry and shows Stan the photos? You're right, she sighed. The answer is here, Lenny. We just have to find it. Okay, so far our plan is for me to arrive before Billy and try to figure something out while I'm there. Okay, Lenny, I don't know how to thank you for your help. That's what friends do, Ellie. Billy is not your friend. He wouldn't do this if he were your friend. He must go. He's sick, Lenny, but you're right. I can't let his problem become my problem. I won't let him ruin Stan's life and mine. Just please don't hurt him if it can be prevented. Ellie, he's not my friend anymore. Someone who hurts you cannot be my friend. If all this goes wrong and he does what he threatens, I will punish him. That night, lying in bed, Ellie thought about her problem. Stan slept calmly next to her after violent intercourse. One thing was clear about Stan: he was insatiable. Despite his social awkwardness, he was a completely different person around Ellie. He idolized her and was as passionate as a man could be. She was confident that once she stopped taking the pills, she would become pregnant within a week. It was Wednesday, January 28th. She had 1 week left before Billy left for Philadelphia. Lenny was planning to leave for Philly this Sunday, the 1st. She had already made all the reservations for Lenny and put him up at the same hotel, the Marriott near the Philadelphia airport, where Billy was supposed to be staying. On the 4th, he will leave this hotel and stay at another hotel nearby. She reserved a car for him. She hoped Lenny would figure out a way to hold Billy without letting him know he was there. Otherwise, she'd have to think on her feet when he returned. There were several ideas that they exchanged among themselves. One was for Lenny to try to hire sex services to distract him, but that would only end up delaying the inevitable. That was the problem with every idea they had. They kept delaying the inevitable confrontation with Billy's attempt to rekindle their past relationship. Ellie thought about the possibility of blackmailing him back, but his marriage was already on the rocks. If he completely fell apart, he would be even more close to her. While she couldn't get rid of the photos, she would have to carefully lead him by the nose. Ellie gave Lenny enough money to use for any opportunities that arose. They also bought burner phones for communication while Lenny was in Philadelphia. Only the numbers of these two telephones were programmed into the phones. Lenny landed at Philadelphia International Airport on Sunday evening and headed to the rental car counter to get his car keys. He went to the hotel and checked in, then headed into town. He went to South Philly and looked at places where he thought Billy might be. Even though Lenny was a little slow, he definitely had street smarts. He also made a few friends over the years working at the shipyard, and many of them might not be the nicest guys when they needed to be. The only problem was that Lenny didn't want anyone to know he was in Philly. As Lenny was walking through South Philly, he turned the corner on a small street, and there was a small alley on his right. He heard the sounds of a struggle and the screams of a young woman. While many people would have walked by without interfering, Lenny was not one of those people. When Lenny reached the end of the alley, he heard a struggle behind a dumpster that was blocking his view. He heard someone say, "Shut up, bitch." Then the sound of a fist hitting the body. As he walked around the dumpster, he saw a young Hispanic girl fall to the ground. The three Hispanic men simultaneously turned and looked on Lenny. One of them was within reach, and the other two were about 8 feet away. It was obvious that whoever was within range had hit the girl. Without thinking, Lenny hit him in the temple, and he fell like a bag of rocks. The girl moaned but did not move, lying next to the man Lenny had just hit. "White guy, I don't know what you're up to, but you just signed your own death warrant. First you die, then she dies, after we've had some fun with her." Lenny wasn't too worried. He weighed 280 pounds at 6'6", and probably weighed more than those two combined, and they didn't have a gun. He thought his chances were good. One of the men rushed at Lenny, and a fight began. The two hit Lenny several times, but it didn't really affect him. At one point, Lenny was able to grab one of them and slam his head into the steel edge of a dumpster. One left. The last attacker rushed at Lenny, and Lenny was able to grab him by the jacket with one hand and by the throat with the other. His arms were much longer than the attacker's, and he could not hit him. The only thing he could do was hit Lenny in the arm. Lenny pinned him against the wall, holding him a foot off the ground. He heard the girl moan, but heard nothing from the other two. He was angry and began to squeeze his captive's throat when he heard several voices behind him. "Damn, it's a gee on the ground. Enough. White guy, stop, or I'll shoot you in the back. Juan, go see how she is. Put it down, white boy. I won't let him go, Lenny replied. He was going to hurt her. Who are you? What are you, a superhero? Why do you care? Because he was going to hurt her, so I helped her. Lenny heard the girl named G begin to come, and Juan helped her up. Lenny held the last of the attackers by the throat so that there was a villain between him and the one who spoke. Juan helped Guy up, and she started screaming at the one who was lying on the ground and hit her, and then started kicking him. Gianna, stop it. What the hell happened? Those three bastards brought me here, Trey. They were going to have sex with me. I screamed when that bastard hit me. I don't know what happened then. Who is this white guy? He's holding one of them that was with them. Did the white guy help her? Don't know. I think yes. Hey, Lenny said. They told me they would kill me for helping her, and then kill her after they were done with her. I helped her. Okay, white guy, don't let him go just yet. Juan, go get the car, quickly. White guy, you just helped the little sister of a very important person. He will want to meet you. These three will come with us. You better come with us and meet Julio. No, I'll just leave. No, white guy, you're coming with us. If you speak the truth, you have nothing to fear. If you lie, you have something to be afraid of. At that moment, an old Ford Crown Victoria pulled into the alley and the trunk opened. Trey and Juan threw the two, still on the ground, into the trunk. Then Trey told Lenny to throw the last one on top of them. Okay, white guy, get in the front passenger seat. Just know that I'm sitting right behind you. Anything stupid, and I'll shoot you. Lenny sat down without a word and sat quietly. Juan got behind the wheel, Trey got in behind Lenny, and the girl got in behind Juan. They drove west of town into one of Philly's roughest neighborhoods and pulled into another alley near 63rd and Girard Avenues. At the end of the alley, the garage door opened and the Crown Victoria drove inside. The garage was very large and filled with cars in various stages of disassembly. Lenny guessed that it was a chop shop. At the far end of the garage, with cars on either side, the Crown Victoria stopped. Lenny stayed in the car until all three got out. Trey walked over to the passenger window and tapped on the glass. Come out, white boy, it's time to meet Julio. They left three attackers in the trunk. They walked down a long hallway at the end of the garage, and at the end of the hallway was a large office room. Trey knocked on the door twice and waited. 10 seconds later, everyone on the other side of the door heard, "Come in." The man sitting at the table was Hispanic and looked to be about 29 years old. He was dressed casually, but not like a street thug. Is this the guy you texted me about, Trey? Yeah, huge guy, isn't he? The man at the table stood up and walked around the table. He was about 5 feet 10 inches tall, not thin, but not fat either. He extended his hand to Lenny. Julio, nice to meet you. Jimmy, nice to meet you. They told me that you helped Guy in a difficult situation. Why? She needed help. Of course I needed it. What are you going to do with them? You probably don't want to know. Don't worry, you're fine. I owe you. Are you local? No. Are you like a Boy Scout? Are you just helping people? No. I just saw that she needed help. Are you going to beat them up? Do you really want to know? Yes. I'm going to kill them. Lenny was silent for about 15 seconds. Are you serious about repaying me for helping the girl? Absolutely. What can I do for you, Jimmy? Hello? Ellie, it's me. Can you talk? I know it's you, Lenny. Can I say what happened? You won't believe what happened. You must send me home as soon as possible. Wait, Lenny, let me check. Lenny heard her working on the computer. Okay, Lenny, I can book you a flight that leaves tomorrow at 8 in the morning. Okay, I'll explain everything when I arrive. Stan will be away when I get back, right? Yes. Okay, try to get Billy to meet us on Wednesday night. Just the three of us. Okay, I won't tell him that it will be the three of us. I'll let him know that it'll just be me and him, and then you'll show up. Otherwise, he might want to take Alice with him. Okay, Ellie, don't cancel your room and car reservations. I'll have to go back. Okay, take a piece of paper and write down the flight information. Thank you, Lenny. See you tomorrow night, Ellie. Ellie hung up and picked up her regular cell phone and made another call. Andrea, I may need a big favor. Lenny got off the plane and called Ellie's burner phone from a burner phone. Ellie, it's me. I know, Lenny. You're the only one who has this number, Ellie laughed. Yes, that's right. I just got off the plane. Are you in the parking lot? Yeah, just come out. I'll see you. Lenny went outside and waited patiently by the curb. About 5 minutes later, Ellie pulled up in her BMW and honked her horn. Lenny sat in the passenger seat and could barely contain his excitement. Ellie, I swear you won't believe what happened. Are you going to tell? It was crazy. I walked past one alley and heard the screams of a girl. She was attacked by 3 bandits. They knocked her out and were going to take her by force and then kill her. I beat up these 3, and then the girl's friend showed up. Her name is Gianna, but everyone calls her Go, and they forced me to help them take these guys. Problem. What are they going to do with these guys, Lenny? Lenny, did you kill any of these guys? No, Lenny replied. Will Billy come to your house tomorrow? Yes, she said with some disgust in her voice. At 5 o'clock. Fine. Don't be there when he comes. Call him and tell him you're late, but you'll be there soon. I'll wait until he enters the house, and then I'll go by myself in a couple of minutes. I don't want him to get hurt. I won't harm him. I'll only make him pass out for a while, but I won't physically harm him. Here's my plan. Lenny told Ellie part of his plan. He believed that the less she knew, the better. When Lenny finished explaining his idea, Ellie made another call. Hi, Andrea, it's me. I need to do what I've been thinking about. Can you stay with me for the weekend? Okay, it's not final yet, but it's possible. You don't want to know. Yes, maybe I'll tell you someday. Thank you, Andrea. I really owe you. The next day, at 5 o'clock in the evening, Lenny watched as Billy parked the car in Ellie's driveway. Lenny waited 10 minutes, then drove up and parked behind Billy's car. He walked through the open garage door and quietly entered the hallway. He heard the TV playing in the living room. Lenny returned to the door between the hallway and the garage and slammed it loudly. He then called out to Billy, Billy, where are you? I brought Chinese food. Billy appeared in the kitchen as Lenny came in from the hallway. Lenny, what the hell are you doing here? Well, I know Stan left yesterday, so I thought I'd come over and keep Ellie company. I think you decided the same thing? I saw your car in front of the house. Yes. Okay, I just got off the phone with Ellie. She's stuck at the animal shelter. I told her I brought us Chinese food, and she told us to start without her, and that she would come as soon as she could. Billy looked gloomily and headed into the dining room. Okay, Lenny, I'll have a beer. Lenny put the Chinese food on a large platter and took it to the dining room. Here, Billy, eat, and I'll go get a beer. He took 3 glasses, 2 identical and 1 slightly different. He added the powder to the one that was different, then poured beer into all 3. Lenny took the 3 glasses to the dining room and made sure Billy got the one that was different. 30 minutes later, they had eaten most of the food and Billy was noticeably tired. Let's go to the living room, said Lenny. Sounds good, I'm tired, Billy replied. What time are you leaving, Lenny? In a little while, I can't stay late today. Billy sat down on the soft sofa and rested his head on the armrest. After 20 minutes of small talk, Billy was already snoring. Lenny called Ellie on a burner phone. Ellie, it's me. Ellie couldn't help but laugh. I know, stupid. Has he passed out? Yeah, you know what? You won't be needed here. You can go back to the shelter. I'll call you soon. Ellie turned off the phone and left. Lenny walked back to his car and returned a few minutes later with a small backpack. He put down his backpack and took out a box of latex gloves. He put them on, then took out a black knitted cap, placed it on Billy's head and rubbed it, then took Billy's hat off and put it in a plastic bag. He pulled out another pair of latex gloves and put them on Billy. Lenny lifted Billy onto his shoulder without much effort and carried him downstairs to the spacious basement. He carried him to a room in the middle of a huge basement and laid him on his back on the floor. Then he returned upstairs and brought the backpack. He went back upstairs and found several large pillows and some blankets and a blanket. Lenny looked around and found a large cardboard box and cut a hole in it. He placed the pillows inside the box, then took out a small caliber pistol from his backpack. He wrapped the box in blankets and a blanket and lifted Billy up. He took the gun into Billy's hand and pointed it at the hole in the box. After the box was covered as best as possible, Lenny used Billy's hand to shoot the gun. It wasn't as loud as he thought, and he was sure no one heard. Lenny fired the remaining rounds into the pillows. Lenny pulled Billy's hand out of the box and carefully removed the latex gloves from his hands. He put them in a separate plastic bag. Lenny picked Billy up again and carried him upstairs, laying him down on the sofa where he fell asleep. He took off his gloves and placed them, along with the pads, in a trash bag and placed it in the trunk of his car. Later, he will find a container for them. He called Ellie and told her to leave a message on Billy's phone that she was stuck at the shelter. By this time, it was almost 8 o'clock, and Lenny assumed that Billy would wake up soon. At 9 o'clock, Billy was still sleepy, but he had already woken up and saw a message from Ellie. He pressed the callback button, and Ellie answered. "Hey, Billy, sorry, I'm stuck at the shelter. Is Lenny with you?" "He was there. We ate Chinese food, but I fell asleep and he left." "Look, I'm sorry, I'm stuck here. There aren't enough people, and there are a lot of new animals to help. You should probably go home, maybe say goodbye to Alice. I just have to hold out until Saturday, Ellie." "Billy, I can't do this. I won't." "You will do it, Ellie. We will do it. We have to. Goodbye, Billy." "Goodbye, Ellie. See you Saturday." Billy hung up the phone, stood up and stretched. He left the living room and went up to the bedroom. He went into Ellie's closet and picked out the underwear he wanted her to wear on Saturday and left them on the bed. He then left the house and drove home, finding that Alice's car was gone. He thought that she was somewhere with her latest lover, and found irony in that all his life he had been the one who cheated, and now he found himself married to a woman who did the same to him. He poured himself a beer and sat down to watch TV. At 11 he went upstairs and went to bed. Billy woke up at 8 in the morning on February 4 and took a shower. Alice never returned home. He made himself a cup of coffee from the Keurig machine and ate a bagel for breakfast. He threw some clothes into his carry-on luggage and called an Uber to take him to the airport. He reserved a car at the Philadelphia airport, so when his completely uninteresting flight landed, he went to the car rental counter and got the keys. He drove his rental car to the hotel parking lot and checked into his room. By this time, it was already quite late, so he decided to have a snack at the hotel restaurant and go to bed. Tomorrow, he was going to have a busy day. He was going to visit many of the city's historical sites, and then find a good bar and maybe meet a local girl. In the morning, Billy got up and went down to the restaurant, where he had a light breakfast, then got ready and went into town. He got onto I-95 North and took the Broad Street exit. He drove past Lincoln Financial Field, where the Eagles played, and Wells Fargo Center, where the Flyers played, then past Citizens Bank Park, where the Phillies played. He was an Eagles fan growing up, but stopped watching the sport when it became too political. Billy found a spot in the central strip of Broad Street near Town Hall and decided that from there he could walk to everything he needed. He spent most of the day walking and taking selfies near Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, Betsy Ross's Arch Street home, and several other landmarks. After lunch at the Liberty Bell, Billy called Allie. "Hey, Allie, I needed to hear your voice." "You should stay in Philadelphia, Billy." "No, Allie. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll meet on Saturday as planned. Last chance, Billy, please call it off. No, Allie, this has to happen. You don't understand how much I want this. I'm sorry. Okay, Billy, when you get back to California, don't contact me through monitored channels. Don't call me on your cell phone, and I won't meet you in places with cameras. Don't do anything that would link you to me. I will protect Stan at all costs. I understand, Allie. I really do. I promise I will protect Stan and you too. He sent selfies to Alice and Allie, but never received a response from Alice. Allie replied that she was glad that he would be able to spend a week in Philadelphia and hoped that he would like it. Billy played along and replied that he intended to have fun and explore the nightlife every night, and that he had heard that Saturday nights were always special, and he was going to find out. Allie didn't answer this. Billy did not notice the young men who had been watching him all day. At 6 o'clock in the evening, it was already dark, and he was walking in the area of Kashtanova and Shirakaya. Even though he didn't know the area like the back of his hand, he definitely didn't get lost. He had heard about the Shylands pub on Drury Street and wanted to go there. He knew the pub was at the end of a lane and a little secluded. It was cold and windy, so there weren't a lot of people around when Billy entered the alley he thought was Drury. He was about halfway there and saw a pub sign when he felt a terrible blow to his kidney. Then he felt blows to his ribs from behind. Everything happened so quickly that he did not have time to react. The attacker, as far as Billy could see, was a 20-year-old Latino. What couldn't be missed was the red and white jacket he was wearing. As Billy lay on the ground, the assailant pulled his wallet from his pocket and took cash. He then took Billy's watch off and put it in his pocket. "I've never seen you here, bitch, but come again, we'll do it again." The attacker laughed, then walked out of the alley and turned right, still laughing. Billy began to come to his senses and tried to get up. He was confident that in a fair fight he could beat a smaller opponent and intended to do so. He emerged from the alley and saw his attacker half a block ahead. He started running to catch up with him and shouted at him to stop running like a coward. The attacker turned around, gave him the middle finger, then ran again. Billy continued the chase. The attacker always remained at the same distance. At some point, he saw the assailant turn onto Broad Street. As Billy turned onto Broad, he saw his attacker half a block ahead and began screaming again for him to stop or for someone to stop him. "Stop running, you coward! Come back! Come on, bitch!" The attacker turned around and spread his arms in a "come on" gesture, then ran again. "Yes, you better run. If I repeat you, I will kill you, bitch." At that moment, the attacker ran so fast that Billy could not catch up with him and disappeared. A small crowd gathered around Billy, and he told them what happened in the alley. He tried to raise his profile by saying that he was attacked from behind, and he was confident that he could beat his attacker if given the chance. No one in the crowd recognized the robber, but everyone saw him. They at least figured they'd be able to identify him if they saw him again. One person in the crowd captured the end of the chase on video, but did not capture the robber himself, only Billy and his screams. When he told Billy about this, he asked to forward the video so that his friends back home would believe him. This, of course, will be proof that he was in Philadelphia. Billy did not call the police, knowing that the chances of catching the attacker were almost zero. The only thing the robber took was cash and a watch. He left Billy's cell phone, car keys, identification, and credit cards. Billy decided to call it a day as he had a flight scheduled for the next day. He returned to his car and drove back to the hotel. I went to the hotel bar and drank a few beers, then went up to my room. From his room, he called Allie again. "Hey, beautiful, you won't believe what happened. I got robbed in South Philadelphia. Someone even videotaped the end of the chase. After I got attacked from behind, I chased him. But he ran like a coward. At the end of the chase, a crowd of people gathered. I'll send you a video that someone took." "Wow, this is terrible. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. My ribs still hurt, but I'll be fine." He took the watch, Allie. "The one you and Stan gave me for being best friends at your wedding." "It's just a clock, Billy. The main thing is that you're alive." Okay, enough of that. I'm looking forward to Saturday. Plans have changed, Billy. I'll come to you. I like the sound of that. Same rules, Billy. Don't call me. In fact, I won't even take my phone with me. I'll call you sometime on Saturday. Okay, Allie, you won't regret it. I already regret it, she thought to herself. At 5 p.m., Andrielli landed at Philadelphia International Airport, where they were met by Lenny. They drove north on I-95 and crossed the Walt Whitman Bridge in South Jersey. They went to an inexpensive motel in Gloucester, where they had already rented a room, and went inside. Lenny left Allie in the room and went to the nearest Wawa, bought a couple of sandwiches and a few drinks, and returned to the room. Allie, tomorrow night you're going to take Billy's car and go to a hotel further away from here and put this in his drink. He'll get sleepy and act like he's drunk and stoned. A girl will come to the room for money. She'll look a little like you, so Billy won't notice the difference. You'll take another room and stay there. Sometime in the middle of the night, you'll go back to the first room and sleep in a different bed. In the morning, you'll stop somewhere for breakfast, then you'll go back to town. Let Billy drop you off at your car, and then come back here. I'll meet you here. Lenny gave Allie 2 small bags containing measured amounts of white powder. Give him one of these. If he's still sober after half an hour, give him the other one. They won't knock him out completely, but he won't know what's going on. You're not going to touch him, are you? I won't touch him. I need you to send me a photo of his jacket when you first see him. Allie, as far as he knows, all that's going on is that he's meeting you for the night. If he thinks that you were together, but it's not like that, it's better, trust me. Have you thought of all this? I have new friends who help me. Allie woke up at 9 in the morning local time, and Lenny was already sitting at a small table in the hotel, looking at his phone. Good morning, Lenny. I'll take a shower, and then let's go find a diner for breakfast. Sounds good, Allie. They sat down in a small roadside diner that seemed all chrome and red vinyl and discussed what was going to happen. The only thing I want you to do, Allie, is talk to him about the attack. Let him be specific about where it happened. Maybe we'll drive by the place and have him point it out, but don't get out of the car. Remember, there are cameras everywhere. Make him angry and boost his ego. Ask him about the bar he wanted to go to, and that he should try to find it again since he couldn't go there that night. Lenny. Allie, trust me. Yeah, that's what Billy said. You have to trust one of us, choose who. Always to you, Lenny, always to you. At noon, Allie called Billy from another burner phone, which had been purchased by one of Lenny's new friends. This phone could never be connected to any of them. She told him to meet her in a small town south of the airport called Leicester. She told him that she would meet him at a small diner on RT 291 at 2 p.m. When she saw Billy in the parking lot, she took a photo of him with his new burner phone and sent the photo to Lenny through his new burner phone. She then drove up the street and parked at a Wawa and asked Billy to come in and buy her a Diet Pepsi. She reminded him that she wanted to avoid the cameras. Billy thought she was a little paranoid, but he was willing to play along. He bought drinks and returned to the driver's seat of the car. Okay, Allie, where to go first? How about you show me where you got robbed? Sure, maybe I'll see the little bitch and get my watch back. The clock isn't that important, Billy. Important to me, darling, important to me. It's the only thing I have from you and Stan that really matters to me. I'll buy you some others. Okay, where are we going? Okay, let's go north on I-95 to 676 and then into town. There will be a lot of little side streets. Okay, remember, I won't get out of the car in the city. Billy entered Drury Street into his phone's GPS and headed north. 10 minutes later, he drove past the alley where the attack took place. Right here, this chicken attacked me. There were people walking around and leaving the pub that Billy was about to go to. Is this where you were going? Yeah, I didn't even have time to go inside. So come back tomorrow night. Maybe your boyfriend will come back here and you'll get your watch back. Wait, forget about it. It's not worth it. It's just a watch. Why don't you go over there and see if there is anything left? Good idea. I'll be right back. Billy walked down the alley and looked around the place where it all happened, but didn't seem to find anything interesting. Several people passed by, including a couple of waitresses who were on their way to their shift at the Shalene's pub. Billy spoke to them for a minute, then the women shook their heads and walked into the pub. Billy walked back to the car and got in. Bad luck, huh? Maybe he'll come back after dark. If you come back, promise me you'll be careful. We'll see. Maybe I'll just ID him and call the cops. It's not a bad idea, just don't do anything stupid. I don't want to lose you over a stupid watch. Billy looked at Allie and smiled. That's nice, Allie. Well, after he ran away, we went there. They followed the route by car and then left the area. Let's drive past the sights, Allie said. First the Liberty Bell, then Independence Hall, then the Rocky statue at the Art Museum. Of course, honey, you're right. At this time, G was in the King of Prussia shopping center, looking for a jacket similar to the one in the photo. She finally found one at one of the more expensive department stores. While she was there, she bought a gold chain for a man she had met as the White Guy, but now called the White Knight. She hoped the chain would fit his massive neck. Okay, beautiful, we've passed all the attractions in town. Where do you want to eat? Let's go to Jersey. Cross the Ben Franklin Bridge and head south on 676. We'll go south to Atlantic City and find something along the way. Okay, do you know where we're going? I did a little research. There are a few places we can stop that probably won't have cameras. As you say, beautiful. Billy's only concern was his burning need to rekindle their love. They found a nice restaurant about 30 minutes from Philadelphia and had a light dinner. Then we stopped at a liquor store and Billy went in to buy a couple bottles of wine. While he was in the store, Allie texted Lenny and kept him updated on where she was. After a few more minutes on the road, Allie asked Billy to pull into the parking lot of an old motel that looked very well maintained. Billy went in and rented a room in the back on the first floor. The room was actually a suite with a common area and 2 bedrooms. The common area had a kitchenette, a table with 4 chairs, and a small living room. How about we turn on the TV, Billy? I'll pour us some wine. Don't get me wrong, but I need some alcohol. Okay, beauty, don't worry. This is just the beginning. You'll see it was meant to be. I'll do what I have to do to protect Stan, but it's wrong. I'm not like you. Please, Billy, I don't want to do this. Everything happens for a reason. You don't understand. I just do what I have to do, and you will do what you have to do. I love you, Allie, and you will love me again. I love you already, Billy, and you're right. I'll do what I have to do. Wait a little while. I'll pour us some wine. Allie went to the kitchenette and took a couple of glasses from the cabinet. She poured 1 packet of powder into 1 glass and filled it 3/4 full with wine. She filled another glass halfway and returned to the living room, holding Billy's glass of powder and sipping from hers. Billy took a long sip of wine and placed the glass on the table next to the couch he was sitting on. Allie sat down on a chair opposite the sofa and looked at him. I can't believe I'm here. You're making me break the promises I made to Stan. We made promises to each other too, Allie, Billy whispered. We were young. It doesn't matter, Billy said, taking another long sip of wine. Allie stood up and began pacing back and forth in front of the couch. Tears began to well up in the corners of her eyes. She took another sip of wine and looked at Billy. We must be drunk, Billy. I need some justification. Billy smiled slightly and finished his wine. Allie took his glass and returned to the kitchenette, taking an open bottle of wine from the refrigerator. Try to find some soft music, nothing loud or crazy. Without saying a word, Billy picked up the remote and began searching for music channels. Allie poured the second packet of powder into his glass and filled it almost to the top with wine. She didn't care anymore. She brought the glass to him and began pacing back and forth again. Everything will work out, Allie. Everything will work out. I know, I'm just trying to gather my courage. You need to give me some time. I've waited years, I can wait a few more minutes. Allie sat down in the chair and looked at Billy. She saw his eyes begin to close. He laid his head back and his eyes almost closed. Allie, sit with me. I'll sit down, just give me a few more minutes. Okay, Allie, I love you. I know, Billy, she whispered. Allie returned to the kitchenette and heard a soft knock on the door. She walked to the door, looked through the peephole, and saw a young woman who resembled her standing with Lenny. She opened the door, hugged Lenny, and cried quietly. I gave him both bags. I don't care anymore. Whatever happens, let it happen. The woman walked past Allie and entered the room. She walked up behind Billy and began massaging his shoulders. Okay, Billy, she whispered, for me to do this, you need to keep your eyes closed. I'm not going to tie your hands, but I will put a blindfold on you. I can't let you look at me for the first time. Maybe in time, but not tonight, okay? She almost whispered everything she said. I understand, honey. Things will get better, he mumbled. The woman took out what looked like a stocking and tied it around the back of Billy's head, then whispered in his ear again, If you take this bandage off, it's all over. I'll be yours for the night if you don't take it off. She walked around the front of the sofa, knelt down, and began to unbuckle Billy's belt. She looked across the sofa at Allie and Lenny, smiled, and nodded to them. Allie took one of the room keys and walked out the door with Lenny, closing the door quietly. Okay, Allie, she has the number for the burner phone I gave you last night. Keep it with you and go to the room at the back. Give me the keys to Billy's rental car. I'll be back. Lenny, you know I didn't want to do this to him, right? I know. Fuck him. He brought this on himself. Go to another room, Allie. Allie turned and went to the room at the end and went inside. Lenny got into his rental car and drove back to Philadelphia. The burner phone Lenny had given her the day before began to vibrate on the table next to the sofa. Allie immediately woke up and read the message. Passed out like a light. Knock on the door. She stood up and walked towards the room she started in. She knocked softly on the door, and a young woman opened it, smiling. He won't wake up for a few more hours. Your friends are on their way and should be here any minute. Give me the key to the other room. I'll go get some sleep. Tell Julio thanks for the business. Who is Julio? It doesn't matter. I thought you knew. At that moment, Lenny pulled up in Billy's rental car and approached them. It's done, Allie. You won't have to worry about him anymore after this weekend. Thank you. If you ever need anything, just say the word. Okay, you two chat, the unnamed woman said. I'm going to go get some sleep. Do you need a ride somewhere? No thanks, big guy. Someone will come pick me up later. With these words, she turned and went to another room. Where are you going now, Lenny? I have your car outside of Philadelphia. Someone will come get me. Tomorrow, stay with Billy until noon or so, then have him drop you off at the other rental car and head back to our room in Jersey. I'll meet you there. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you so much. I swear, if I can help in any way, consider it done. At that moment, a black Chevy Camaro pulled up with a young Hispanic woman behind the wheel. Please. The girl driving the Chevy got out and walked up to the two, hugging Lenny's arm and looking at Allie with a smile on her face. Are you Allie? Lenny can't stop talking about you and your husband. Allie, this is Gianna. We've been kind of hanging out lately. I see. I'm glad for you. Hey, Allie, try not to watch the news hard in the morning. It won't matter after this. Okay, Gianna. Lenny, can I talk to Gianna for a minute? Of course, I'll wait in the car. After Lenny got into the driver's seat of the Chevy, Allie turned to Gianna. Gianna, please be kind to him. If things don't work out, please don't hurt him. He's a special person, and now I feel like he's given me my life back. Allie, you're right, he's a special person. Allie noticed that the street slang had disappeared. I don't know where this is going, but I want to push it a little and see what happens. I think he's the nicest person I've ever met. Allie, he's talking about coming back here. He can't do it. He doesn't belong here. Gianna, tell Lenny to give you my number and call me in a few days. After Wednesday. Let's talk. By the way, what's with this slang? That's how we met. I'm going to fix it over time. I don't want to scare him. How did you meet someone like Lenny? Long story, we'll talk sometime. Okay, sounds good. I should go. It was nice meeting you, Allie. It was nice meeting you too, G. I can't wait to hear your story. A smiling Gianna turned and walked towards the black Chevy. Lenny got out from the driver's side, walked around the car, and opened the door for her. Gianna got into the car with a big smile on her face. After the door closed, he returned to the driver's side, and they drove off. Allie returned to the motel room and heard Billy snoring in one of the bedrooms. She went into the other bedroom and locked the door behind her. She didn't want him to wake up and expect a repeat of what he thought happened earlier. At 9 a.m. she woke up, went to the kitchen and made coffee. By the time the coffee was ready, she heard Billy in the bathroom. He walked into the kitchen and smiled at Allie. Hey, beautiful, how are you feeling? Not good, Billy. I can't go on like this. Don't worry, honey. Everything will get better. You'll see. Want some coffee? I'll leave this unopened bottle of wine with the maid. Do you want to save it for the evening? It's not going to be an evening. We can have breakfast, maybe hang out for a bit, and then it'll be over. I'll still leave the bottle just in case. As you wish. They drank coffee in relative silence for about 5 minutes. Then Billy reached for the remote to turn on the TV. Billy, let's go eat. I'm hungry. Whatever you say, honey. They drove back down 322 towards Philadelphia and stopped at the same diner they had stopped at the night before and had a quiet breakfast. Billy, I want you to take me to my car. I feel very guilty about this, and I need to be alone to deal with this. Okay, honey, no problem. By 1 p.m., she was back in her car, driving in the opposite direction from Billy. He was heading north to Philadelphia. She was heading south to cross the Commodore Barry Bridge and return to Jersey. As she drove past the stadium where the Philadelphia Union played their matches, she thought about the times she and the 3 boys went to watch. Billy is such a jerk, she thought to herself. Allie was getting into Andrea's car at the airport after a long flight from Philadelphia. Andrea, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your help. So, how was your weekend? Everything you expected? You have no idea. How was your weekend at my house? Besides the jacuzzi and stuff, it's pretty boring. Nobody came in. Stan texted a few times, I answered, but no other problems. Ordered food on Saturday, used your card like you said. Andrea, I don't know everything that happened, but you helped me more than you know. Lenny said that soon I won't have any more problems with Billy, but I'm not sure about the details. What I do know is that I didn't have to sleep with him. Why did he want to ruin you and Stan? I don't know if that was his end goal, but that's what would happen if Stan found out that Billy and I were having an affair. That and Stan would probably have a nervous breakdown. I think Stan is stronger than you give him credit for. Maybe, but I don't want to take the risk. Billy isn't worth it. I have all your IDs and debit and credit cards. Allie handed the small envelope to Andrea. I put in some cash to cover all expenses. Thanks again, Andy. No problem. Okay, tell me. How about we wait a bit? Plausible deniability and all that. You know you're dying to tell me what happened, she said, smiling. Okay, Allie laughed. Actually, not much happened to me. I hung out with Billy, we went sightseeing, had dinner at a diner, rented a motel room. A girl came over for money to sleep with Billy, so I didn't have to. We got up in the morning. Wait. You hired an easy girl for Billy. Allie started laughing. No, someone else did it. After dinner, we rented a motel room and drank some wine. Lenny gave me something that I put in the wine to make him kind of high. Lenny came with this girl, and I went to another room for the night. Billy thinks we slept together, but we didn't. How does that get you out of it? I think Lenny's friends are setting him up for something, but I don't know exactly what. Lenny is due back tomorrow, and Billy and Stan are due back on the 12th. Do you want to stay with me tonight? We can have a bottle of wine, and you won't have to go home. I only live 2 miles from here. I know, tell your husband you'll spend the night at my place. I really need some company tonight. Okay. I'll call John from your house. He won't mind. Hello? This is Detective Jones from the Philadelphia Police Department. Who am I talking to? Billy had been arrested enough times to know to be careful when talking to the police. This is Bill Sims. How can I help you? Mr. Sims, were you recently robbed? I have a video of you chasing the robber. Actually, yes. Did you catch this guy? I think so. Can I meet you at our police department to discuss this? How about we meet here at my hotel? Okay, no problem. 20 minutes later, Detective Jones entered the Marriott lobby with 2 uniformed officers. Hello, Mr. Sims. Do you have a rental car here? Yes, in the parking lot. White Ford Focus. Okay, I need to check her out. You caught my burglar, and you need to inspect my car. Mr. Sims, where were you Saturday night? None of your business. The detective looked at Billy silently for several seconds. Mr. Sims, I am placing you under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. If you waive that right, anything you say can and will be used against you in court. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, it will be provided to you if you wish, before or during the interrogation. You can exercise these rights at any time before or during the interrogation. Do you understand your rights as I have explained them? This wasn't the first time Billy had heard this. Yes, I'll wait for the lawyer. Billy was handcuffed and placed in a patrol car driven by a senior officer to be transported for processing. He wasn't too worried. He knew where he was and could prove it. All he had to do was contact Allie. The officer pulled onto 95 North and turned on the radio. He seemed to be a fan of classic country music. The 2 men remained silent as the car drove in the slow lane, followed by another police car. Billy heard the words to the song as it played. It was an old Johnny Cash song. His voice was ominous. 10 years ago, on a cold, dark night, someone was killed under the light of the city hall. There were few witnesses, but everyone agreed that the killer who escaped looked a lot like me. Billy couldn't help but see the irony. Time seemed to stand still while the song played. The judge said, "Son, what's your alibi? If you were somewhere else, you wouldn't have to die." I didn't say a word even though it meant my life. I was in the arms of my best friend's wife. Billy closed his eyes and began to cry in the back seat of the patrol car. Not so much for himself, but for what he did to Allie. He knew what he had to do. He made a promise. Hello? Allie, don't say anything. I'm under arrest. Billy, what did you do? Nothing, but I was arrested for murder, Allie. What? Allie, I didn't do it, but I can't prove it. Actually, I could, but I can't. You're not knitting, Billy. I know. I'm being held at the police station. If you can come, I'll explain, but not over the phone. I'm in California. I can't get there until next week. It doesn't matter. They won't let me go. I'll get a lawyer, Billy. Don't say anything. Thanks, Allie. Billy became emotional and almost whispered into the phone. Allie, I'm sorry for everything. I really am. I'm sorry for everything. I'm so sorry. I hope someday you'll forgive me. Can you drive by my house and see if Alice is there? She's not answering her calls. Okay, Billy. I need to go to Allie. We'll talk later. Fine. Allie didn't know what else to say. As much as she expected something like this to happen, she was still stunned. Now she knew exactly what had happened. Lenny framed Billy for the murder of one of the men who were about to attack G. He was killed while Billy was in a motel room with a girl, or what he thought was Allie. Billy thought he had been with Allie all night. He could try to use her as an alibi, but he promised her never to reveal their affair. Of course, Allie could deny this and say that she never left California. She was sure there would be witnesses who saw a man matching Billy's description, wearing a dark green jacket, running away from the scene of the murder of a young Hispanic man wearing a red and white jacket. She was sure the murder victim was wearing a watch engraved with Billy's name and a touching message from Allie and Stan. She felt that Billy would take the blame without trying to involve her. She dialed Stan's phone number and told him about Billy's arrest. Stan said that one of his corporate lawyers would get a lawyer to defend Billy, that he loved her and would see her on the 12th. Allie drove to Billy's house and was surprised to see a moving van parked in the driveway. Several men were carrying furniture into a large truck. "Excuse me, is the owner of the house here?" She felt strange saying this, knowing that the house belonged to a subsidiary of Stan's company. "No, madam. She was here not long ago and left detailed instructions on what needs to be removed." "Okay, thanks." She took out her phone and dialed Alice's number. "Hi, Allie." "Hi, Alice. Moving." "Yeah, that's enough. He's crazy, Allie. He constantly accuses me of cheating. I swear I've never cheated, and lately he's become very scary. Watch out for him, Allie. He's obsessed with you." "Okay, Alice, take care of yourself." Allie realized that Alice would soon hear about the murder charge and didn't want to deal with it now. "Good morning, I love you, Stan." "I love you too, Allie." "Okay, handsome, what's on our agenda?" "Well, just a normal day. We'll have an early dinner, then go to a special place for your surprise." "Sounds great. Can't wait to see what the surprise is." "Should I tell you now?" "Well, if you can't." "Come on, I can wait," Allie laughed. "Any news on Billy?" "It's not going well. Witnesses saw him running from the scene, and in the rental car, they found latex gloves with his fingerprints and gunshot residue on them. They even found a video of him threatening to kill the guy, taken on his own phone. He says he was in New Jersey with a woman, but they have surveillance video of his car driving over the Ben Franklin Bridge and through the toll booths that same night, an hour before the murder." "Are they sure it was the same guy who robbed him?" "Yes, he was wearing the watch we gave him that was stolen in the robbery." "What about the woman he says he was with? Were they able to find her?" "He doesn't say her name. Knowing Billy, if he's telling the truth, it was probably a married woman. It's strange that he's willing to go to prison for murder without giving the name of a woman who could exonerate him. If he's really telling the truth, it would be the noblest thing he ever did." "Are you okay?" "Yes. I sympathize with him, but I always thought that something bad would happen to him. I didn't think it would be like this, but he could never control himself when it came to women. I'm very surprised that he is ready to protect her personality. He must really care about this woman." "Do you mind if I go to his trial?" "Of course not. He is our friend. He needs our support." "You're a good person, Stan. I love you." "I love you too." "Let's go take a shower." Later that day, Stan and Allie were walking through the park after an early dinner. They were walking out of a wooded area into a grassy field when they heard the quiet squeak of a small dog. "Stan, look, there's a little puppy sitting in the grass alone." "It's strange, there are no people around." Allie and Stan walked over to the little corgi and knelt down next to him. "Is he wearing a collar?" "No, he has a gold chain." "Well, a really nice gold chain with a tag." "No, it's a locket or something. It looks like something a person would wear." "What is written there?" "It says, I'll say it first, I love you. Happy anniversary, Allie, and happy Valentine's Day. I love you." Allie jumped up and hugged Stan, wrapping her legs around him and hugging him tightly. "Puppy, are you sure?" "Yeah, I went to the shelter the last few weeks while you were gone, and Andrea helped me meet this puppy. Right now, he only responds to puppy. You'll have to name him soon." "Andrea, huh? Did she help you with that?" "Yeah, she also gave me the name of a local company that will come every day and clean the yard and walk him on days you can't. And they'll clean the yard every day." Ali started laughing. I understand, I understand. I will keep the yard clean. I love you. I love you too. Billy never said Ali's name. He continued to maintain his innocence and claimed that he was with the woman at the time of the murder, but refused to give her name. His trial is yet to come. Lenny has started a relationship with Gianna and is thinking about moving back to Philadelphia to be with her. Ali tries to get Gianna to move to California, but she has business in Philadelphia to take care of. Ali named the dog Jatem and calls him Jet for short. End. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think, click to the next one. Also gave me the name of a local company that will come every day and clean the yard and walk him on days you can't. And they'll clean the yard every day. Ali started laughing. I understand, I understand. I will keep the yard clean. I love you. I love you too. Billy never said Ali's name. He continued to maintain his innocence and claimed that he was with the woman at the time of the murder, but refused to give her name. His trial is yet to come. Lenny has started a relationship with Gianna and is thinking about moving back to Philadelphia to be with her. Ali tries to get Gianna to move to California, but she has business in Philadelphia to take care of. Ali named the dog Jatem and calls him Jet for short. End. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think, click to the next one.